Cam S here, and welcome back to Chasing Tales. We have quite the interesting story and video ahead of us today. So I guess we will just get started right from the beginning. At this point, I get home and I was going to try to sight in my bow because, as you guys know, the string came off the cam and it now is very inconsistent, and I was gonna go try to sight it in so I could use it this night for hunting. Then I looked up and saw a big buck out in the middle of our field. So I snuck back inside and grabbed some binoculars. As I was looking at this buck, I realized it was a pretty nice 10-point. I didn't think I was ready to finish my season yet on this buck because I knew there was a nicer one, or I thought there was a nicer one out at our hunting property that was bigger than this one, but I didn't get a very good look at the one that was out in the field right now. So I called my dad, who hasn't been able to hunt that much this year, and told him that there was a nice 10-point out in our field, and I asked him if he wanted to grab his crossbow to come shoot it. He wasn't totally on board because he had some things that he had to get done after work, but I eventually talked him into coming home to try it out. He told me to get his crossbow ready and get the rangefinder out, and he would be home in a little bit. And as I'm waiting for him to get home, this is the video that I took. At this point, my dad got home and we got him into position to be able to shoot this buck where I thought he would only be about 40 yards away, and then I started to call for him. But apparently I was a little off on my estimate because he was actually 92 yards away from my dad.
If you have watched my review on the Raven crossbow, you know that a 100-yard shot is possible with this bow, but freehanding it would be nearly impossible. So at this point, my dad asked me if I could sneak back without scaring the deer away to grab our shooting sticks so he could rest the crossbow on something.
I can try to grab it.
As you could tell, I was a little hesitant because I did not want to be responsible for scaring this buck away. Which I almost did anyways.
When he laid down like this, we knew that it was our chance to get a little bit closer to close the yardage, because we knew a 92-yard shot, which would now be farther, would not be the best thing to take with a crossbow. So my dad started to get a little bit closer, and I think in this next video he was probably about 40 yards away, for real this time.
We just needed to get the buck to stand up. I kept calling and rattling nonstop, trying to get him to stand up just so my dad could have a shot on him, and nothing worked. There's a lot of video edited out too of me calling and rattling and just trying to get him to stand up so my dad had a clean shot on him, and he could not get it to work. My dad kept inching closer and closer to try to get a clean shot if the buck eventually did stand up. Still nothing works, and as you can see right here, my dad motions for me to come closer so that hopefully the deer can hear me a little better. I made my way out there, and we were both about 30 yards away from this buck, and in the very middle of the screen there's a little bit of reflecting white, and that is actually the buck's antlers right there.
That's definitely it right there.
We were now within 20 yards of this buck, and we were trying everything in our power just to get him to stand up to look at what was going on so my dad could get a shot on him. And we honestly tried everything we got just to get him to stand up, but our time was running out.
And as I mentioned, our time was really running out because my dad needed to be somewhere. We ran out of patience, and he told me to throw a rock in the general area of this buck in hopes of getting him to stand up to investigate what is going on. Where do you want me to throw it? Over there. And just like that, he was gone. And at this point, I kind of regretted the way we approached it because he was a lot bigger than I thought he was when he stood up. Though if my dad had to go, I could have just taken over the crossbow and just waited out there since I was only 20 yards away from him, and just waited for him to make his decision that he was going to stand up instead of us forcing him to get up, because that obviously did not work. Then I ended up going hunting that night with the crossbow because I did not have time to sight in my compound bow.
Once I got situated in the tree stand, this button buck came in with two other does, which I only got this one on camera, and then they just kind of looped around and hung out over here. And then one other doe ended up coming in from the opposite direction to hang out with them. Then this group of turkeys came in to finish off the evening.
And by the end of this night, I was quite frustrated because I would have had a lot higher of a chance of being able to shoot a big buck if we would have just been patient and I just would have waited out in that field. But as I said, I didn't realize the buck was so big, and there's a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas when it comes to hunting. This next night, Alyssa wanted to go hunting, so we decided to go out and try our luck.
And shortly after getting into our blind, this little buck came chasing after a doe. A long time went by without us seeing anything, so I decided to try our luck with using the bleak can, and these 3 does came out right after I used it. A little bit more time went by without us seeing anything at all, and these 2 does ended up coming out. And at this point, she thought she heard us or saw us, and she ended up investigating us for about 20 or 30 minutes.
Once we survived this confrontation, we did not see any more deer. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you come back next week because the buck that we thought my neighbor shot came out 20 yards from my tree stand. So you better come back, watch that video. I'll show a clip right here. Meh. So make sure you come back next week to watch that video. It was quite exciting to say the least. So thank you for watching. Hit that subscribe button below and see you next time.